Okay.
You're on.
Great. Hi everyone, I'm David Oliver. I'm a business partner. I work at Sheffield City Council, work quite closely with Mark Gannon. I'm here today to give you a brief update on the city centre Wi-Fi project, and also just a heads up on a DCMS bid that I'm preparing. Okay, well, I'm very pleased to announce that the city centre Wi-Fi contract has been signed a couple of weeks ago now. The winning bidder was called IDAQ. Hopefully you might have seen the press release that's gone out there and coverage in the media. A few features of the network just to mention. It will be blanket coverage within the majority of the business improving district in the city centre. It's going to be rolled out in 4 stages between May and November next year. I'll come to that in a second. It's going to have download speeds of 20 meg and upload speeds of 40 meg, so it's comparable to 4G. There'll be no net cost to the City Council for the network, and it will be free of charge to the user. We're looking for high quality customer experience for access, registration and use, and there'll be family friendly internet filtering. Okay, so this slide just shows you a little bit more detail about where the coverage and rollout is going to be. So the first area to be rolled out will be phase 1, actually. So that covers the Moor, Fargate, Peace Gardens, and areas around the theatre district. The next stage is a couple of months after that, so that's sort of June and July. They're looking to get into West Street, Division Street, up into Wellington Street around Dev Green. Phase 3, this is the arrivals zone around the bus station, the Hallam University, some student accommodation around there, and the train station. And then finally phase 4, the pink area. So that's around the cultural industry, so around the lead mill and some of the student accommodation there, and up around Devonshire and the other side of the moor. Okay. The next thing I wanted to give you a few minutes about was the DCMS LFFN programme. So that's a nice mouthful. It's the Department for Culture, Media and Sport, and it's their local full fibre networks programme. The aims of DCMS from this is to stimulate commercial investment in local full fibre networks, really to act as competition for BT and Virgin. They've established a challenge fund, which is around just short of £200 million left, and they're looking for competitive bids in 2 waves. The first wave was, well, the guidance was launched last week. The deadline for the first wave is the end of January, with decisions made in March 2018. They're really looking to work with public sector groups to create this competitive fibre infrastructure. And without going into too many details, I've structured bids around four themes. One is around public sector anchor tenancy, so that's, for example, a long-term contract for council buildings, NHS sites, GPs, surgeries, etc. Another theme is around gigabit connection vouchers, so those are going to be managed centrally by DCMS, and they will subsidise the cost of businesses connecting to full fibre networks. Another area is around the reuse of public sector assets, so that would include, for example, Sheffield City Centre, CCTV duct and infrastructure. And then finally, the one that I can't remember, which is around connecting public sector buildings, publicly owned buildings. So, in summary, I've been working with the South Yorkshire Councils and NHS colleagues through the Superfast South Yorkshire Programme Board, and also through the Sheffield City Region CIO Forum, and we started to shape up a bid. We started to shape up this bid actually around about 4 to 6 weeks ago, because we knew that the process was imminent. So we started to talk about, well, if we were going to shape up a bid for full fibre connectivity, what would we want to do in South Yorkshire? And what we didn't want to do was just to bid for funding or bid for fibre's sake. We wanted really to base it around a business problem that we face, a common business problem across the South Yorkshire Councils and with other public sector partners. And that is essentially around the increasing needs, demands and costs of providing health and social care for an ageing population with ever more complex needs. So we've sort of started to shape a bid around there. And in summary, it's around providing full fibre connectivity to council-owned social housing. So I'll just throw a few stats at you around the business, a bit of background for the business problem. Well, in Sheffield, the current financial pressures facing adult social care are around £10 million a year over the next 4 years. So that's almost £40 million in total. We think that by connecting social housing to full fibre broadband and providing services over the top of there for preventative telehealth care and for digital inclusion, we can sort of make an impact on that. And some of my colleagues have coined a term called preventonomics, which is around investing early in preventative measures and saving time and particularly costs further downstream. So some more stats: 30% of Sheffield City Council social care clients live in council-owned housing. A further 10% live in housing provided by other social landlords. In the last 12 months, 32% of all new referrals for social care in Barnsley were from social housing tenants. 20% of people living in Sheffield are digitally excluded. 37% of those who are digitally excluded are social housing tenants. And those with digital skills make less demand on GPs and A&E. So there's a wealth of evidence out there to suggest that if we focus on social housing stock, aim to put in place preventative health and social care solutions, and aim to address digital inclusion, that we can make a difference further down the track. So in terms of the services over the top of the infrastructure, looking at providing secure access to NHS and local authority networks for health and social care professionals, so they can deliver personalised services right there in real time where it's needed. Provide backhaul for telehealth care solutions, whether that's alarms, sensors, more sophisticated technologies. Free of charge internet access for tenants, and then optional commercial triple play services. And that's really there because DCMS will only fund the capital connectivity. They won't fund this long term. For this project to have a life, we need to provide some way of sustaining it in the long term. The idea being that a services provider would be prepared to provide the connectivity to NHS local authority networks, free backhaul and free internet access in exchange for an exclusive concession for being able to upsell, if you like, those additional triple play services. The benefits are around improving efficiency and effectiveness of personal health and social care, supporting independent living in the client's home, and then really, preventing, delaying or reducing demand for expensive forms of social care, tackling digital inclusion, enabling people to access universal credit more readily, to be able to support them in claiming everything that they're entitled to. And then, as I mentioned before, finally, around developing a sustainable method of long-term funding that's got minimum impact on public sector funding. So, that's it at a very high level. Like I said, the guidance only came out a couple of weeks ago, so still in the process of taking what we've come up with before in terms of concepts, shaping that to the templates that DCMS have provided. It's a South Yorkshire-wide project. It includes lots of stakeholders: social care, adult social care, children's social care, housing associations, NHS, times 4 in the South Yorkshire Council, plus other NHS organisations. Also need to sort of test this with the private sector as well, so some friendly ISPs, some friendly infrastructure providers. So that's where it is really. The reason for bringing it here is we'd like to just make you guys aware of it, and also see if there's any other opportunities, maybe at time of writing the bid or further down the track, to work collaboratively with this, with colleagues around in this room really.
Thanks very much. Have you got any questions?
Yeah, can I ask about what your definition of family friendly is? Because I live in Northern Australia where we legalised prostitution 20 years ago. We come to this country in the Stone Age.
Family friendly, for our definition for the Wi-Fi, is something akin to what you would find in a public library.
Right.
Or a school.
Right.
So the
restricted.
It would restrict access to pornography, gambling, that type of content.
Have you based this bid
on the experience on any other precedent? For example, initiatives being undertaken by other local authorities or indeed internationally?
I've looked at case study material, so Blackburn and Darwin did some projects a couple of years ago. Hampshire County Council, I've done some projects. One of the things I can't find is any real hard and fast evidence that a big investment in preventative measures leads further down the track to a cost saving or a cost avoidance or a decrease in demand. And part of our bid will be to establish a work stream that captures that information, that is designed to baseline current costs, current level of service delivery, and measure the interventions that are made and then the benefits further down the track. I'd just like to say as well that this is a competitive fund, so that chances of success are not guaranteed. There's £200 million. I'm hoping that my view is that we should bid for the maximum to aim for 50% of social housing. So that would be a £25 million bid. DCMS have said that the maximum they'll fund a bid for is £25 million, and they'll only fund one bid for £25 million. So I'm aiming high on this.
Yeah. Not exactly a question. I'm really interested in this. I'm doing a PhD that's kind of related. I'd love to have a chat, and there might be information I might be able to give to help and stuff.
Great. Let's hook up after this.
Yeah.
Have you connected with Greg Fell?
I'm speaking quite a lot to Sarah Story in his team. I've taken a lot of the work that Sarah's done and based a bit around that, particularly in a telehealthcare strategy.
The other thing would be, have you considered connecting some of the third sector or charitable organisations that are involved in healthcare? I'm thinking typically Marie Curie nurses or things like that to get them in as part of this activity.
I've not, but that's a really good idea. I started to speak to Rob Walker on the digital inclusion agenda. He's given me a range of organisations that are active in that sector. So I was going to reach out to them, but yeah, good idea. I'll reach out to those guys as well.
So one of the other projects that I work on with Opus Bello magazine is the Making Sheffield Fairer campaign, which is commissioned by the council. So we'd be really interested in having a chat because we have a lot of big intervention ideas for stuff that we'd like to do with the campaign, having run it for 12, 18 months now. Because there are some horrendous stats around this, a couple of which you haven't mentioned, which is 1 in 4 children in this city live below the poverty line. But that is skewed from 3% in Ecclesall all the way to 43% in the northeast end of the city. And over the 83 bus route, which also runs southwest to northeast, there is a 10-year difference in life expectancy over 6 miles.
Gosh.
So when it comes to measuring what the differences are and also being able to monetize that, some of the research we've been doing is around apparently anyone that visits A&E costs the taxpayer, whether they are seen or not, £3,000 a day, and every designated problem family costs the taxpayer £96,000 a year. So not that I like to monetize these things in any way, shape or form, because for me it's about actually helping people and doing things that actually matters to them. There are ways of quantifying people by their already designated status, and if you can help them, that turns into a very big figure that satisfies certain funds but